Hi guys, this is Crossy of Eclipse Gaming TV and welcome to part 4 of my FM 2014 English revival with Manchester City. So I promised I was going to get you a part up once I got 10 games into it, and that is the point that we're at now. And you might have watched the last video and realised I had a pretty heavy cold in that one, and it's slowly, after about a week, starting to shift, which I'm pretty happy with. So hopefully I won't be gasping for air at various points during this video, but we shall see. To give you a heads up then, first of all, I'll start in the transfer screen, as this seems to be the best place to begin. A few others to mention other than what we got here. When we left the last video, Jack Wilshere was the last signing. There have been a couple of others since then. Ashley Cole, 2.5 million, is the strongest option we have at left back, arguably, but Bertrand has been holding down the spot just on good form, which we will come to in a bit. Got Ashley Cole in. A couple of reasons for that: get a bit of experience, get some depth if nothing else, in at 33, and he's getting quite a tasty wage packet still. But judging by the star ratings anyway, he's still got half a star advantage on Bertrand, and really Bertrand was the only option that we have at left back unless we throw someone else in there. So I've got Cole as cover or potentially starting. He's going to be working a rotation basically. Also got Martin Kelly in from Liverpool, the 24-year-old. Reason I've done this, currently 2.5 stars, potential to move on to 3.5 stars, which will stick him at the same kind of level, if not better, than Micah Richards. That's him at right back. So there we go. So he's going to be up there with the likes of Lescott, Stephen Corker, who's been massive for us, Richards as well, as you can see there. So he's got some room to grow and develop at 24. Probably not going to see too much out of him, but he's in as a bit of cover as well, as we've not got too many options in at centre-back since I offloaded a lot of them in the January transfer window, or in the summer transfer window. So he's in there again as a bit of cover, if nothing else, and has played a few games, looks quite decent for us. This one you see down at the bottom. I do have a tendency to collect players when I get involved in these Football Manager games, especially when I'm at the top clubs and have a bit of cash to spend. Jake Hessenthaler, I'll show you these stats straight away. 2.5 silver stars, potential to be half a gold star, if that. Reason I've done this is Jake Hessenthaler, I saw him live in real life on Boxing Day this year, which was a couple of days ago by the time I'm recording this video, and he looked very sharp. He plays for Gillingham, who have been my boyhood club since the age of about 5 or 6, and he's also the son of Gillingham legend Andy Hessenthaler, who will be known for rugby tackling players and for going in two-footed on Patrick Vieira when Gillingham played Arsenal, and they were in, I don't even know, might have still been a Division 2 club or something when that happened. Yeah, I got a bit of a soft spot for Hessenthaler and decided to snap him up. He's played a couple of games, and to be fair, 6.8 rating after 2 appearances. One of them was in the league and one of them was in the Capital One Cup against Liverpool, and he's done a good job. 6.8 ratings in both of those. It's amazing how it happens when you put a weak player in a good team. They manage to be able to survive, which is impressive, to be honest. And I think if you put a whole team of Jake Hessenthalers in there, I would be struggling quite a bit, but I haven't got a whole team with them, so we'll be alright. Also, a couple of other transfers that we'll be going through in January. One of them, very excited about. The other one is going to be a development, shall we say. Keith Mitchell from Huddersfield. Let's show you him. Paid £10 million for this lad. 17-year-old centre-back. Currently decent signing for League 2 side, so he'll be going out on loan and getting some first-team football fairly early on, I think. Potential to become 3.5-star leading Premier Division central defender. So it's going to be probably 4 or 5 years before this guy really starts to develop and become anything half useful at our level. But I've not got too many players coming through in the defensive positions aside from what we got already. So he's going to be a bit of a long-term prospect, and judging by the stats we got here, 14 marking, 16 heading. I mean, he could get in and do a half decent job. And interestingly, since he's predominantly a central defender, he could also play left back and left midfield. And he's got a crossing stat of 15. Because pace is an issue, so he probably won't play in midfield all that often, unfortunately. That's a bit of a waste, that being there. But yeah, never mind. He's got some things to work on, and with a heading and marking stat like that as a very limited central defender with someone very strong alongside him, we may well be able to sneak him a bit of cheeky first team action. Kasper Schmeichel, 28-year-old, ex-Manchester City, released by Leicester, 2-star, so he's already behind Alex McCarthy. He's got a lot of growth to go through himself as a goalkeeper. Yeah, he's not English. Reasons I've done this, again, huge fan of Kasper Schmeichel in real life as a goalkeeper, having watched him for Leicester and for Leeds, and yeah, that's pretty much the only reason I've got. And also I can loan McCarthy out to teams and still have some goalkeeper cover, which is a problem that I had in my first season, where I loaned out Pantilimon. He was my only goalie, and Joe Hart went down for about 7-8 weeks with a knee injury. So I'm going to make sure that I'm not doing that again, and instead of having to sign another English goalkeeper, I've just grabbed one on a free transfer instead. And this one at the bottom, you might well have seen this one, £25 million for Daniel Sturridge. I've gone for it, much cheaper than Welbeck was going to be. Whether I'll ever pick him up or not, I have no idea. Sturridge and Welbeck as a front two might be a decent position to be in, but I'm fairly happy with my strike choices. He's one whole star behind Aguero and probably not going to develop in the future, but I need to get rid of this guy at the top at some point. I can't keep relying on him carrying my team, and with Sturridge coming in, he gives me that bit of faith. A player that can put in 20-30 goals a season for us potentially in all competitions, not in the Premiership alone. That would be a mental effort, but that's the hope anyway. So he's going to be joining us in January. Really looking forward to seeing that. So let's have a look at some of the league tables while we're at it. So we are 6 points clear at the top at the moment, which is fairly interesting since we have weakened our team since last time out, and we're doing a much better job, I would say. And it's been some surprising players that have come up good for us, which is always a positive thing. Also, I need to have a look at the Champions League. We did lose 4-2 to Bayern Munich. That was the last game I played. Right, Bayern. Champions Cup Group D. Qualified already because we've got Olympiacos and FC Red Bull Salzburg. Where are these guys even from? Germany? Austria? Oh, fantastic. See, I know my geography. So we've already qualified quite comfortably, and it's going to come down to that goal difference, I think, because we've played Bayern twice, 1-1, lost one, and qualification guaranteed. Hopefully we can get that top spot and get a half-decent draw, push on for the final again, if we can. And also, just to finish off, I'll give you a run through of the team. Now, there's a lot of players in this side at the moment that I've got developing. I might have to start trimming a bit of fat here at some point, I would think, but you'll see a lot of them are out on loan, which I'll talk about in a bit. So, Joe Hart, 16 appearances in goal. What else would you expect? And Nathaniel Klein has been ever present so far. Took a bit of a knock in the last game. As you can see, his fitness isn't brilliant. May well sit out the game against Reading. But he's been heavily looked at and talked about for the England setup, which is a great position for him to be in. We did run through his stats very briefly, but already he's a very, very strong player for us. 7.27 rating. That's very much eclipsed by Steven Corker. 16 games, already got 2 goals for us. 7.65 rating. He has been absolutely massive for us. Was one of my big targets in defence last season, and I got him, and he has come up trumps for us. Jolie Lescott only played 5 games so far. 7.32 rating. Trying to think why it's the case that he's only played that many games. Oh yeah, of course. We've got Michael Richards, who is injured at the moment. Down there, we'll come to him in a bit. And also I'm rotating in other players. I did say I'd put Chalobah in at central defence a fair bit. just to try and get him some games, and that is where he's been playing most of his football at the moment. So that's Lescott. Ashley Cole played about half the games, 8 games, 6.85 rating, very decent, nothing too stiff about there. Gareth Barry played 9 games, another couple off the bench, 7.05 rating. No, wait, hang on, that's him. So Barry's got a massive 7.42 rating, only played 6 games though. He seems to rotate in. We have got stronger options in midfield, to be honest. But he's getting some games and he's doing a good job for us. Rodwell, 9 games, 3 off the bench, 1 goal, 7.05. He's starting to get a bit more football now compared to last season where he only played about half of the games. Developing very nicely, and we'll just jump in and have a look here. So potential to go 4-star, 3-star at the moment. Big thing for him is if he can sort out his finishing and his long range shooting and make some improvements in that area. I mean, long shots 13, half decent. If he can start putting some of these in the back of the net, then he will be very, very useful for us going forward. One of those surprise packages we were talking about, Tom Ince. 12 games, 2 off the bench, 5 goals for us so far. I mentioned in probably the first video I did for this thing, maybe the second one, that Tom Ince seems to have more an eye for goal than Townsend over on the other side. Usually plays down the left for us. Didn't have a great game against Bayern, but for the most part he's been very much on it and has been putting the ball in the back of the net for us. So really glad to see that. And he's got some improving to do and some development, so looking forward to seeing him go from strength to strength. David Silva, 9 games, 1 goal, 7.19, and still getting fairly involved. Usually plays out on the attacking left wing, mainly because Townsend's been injured. When he comes back in, I'll probably play Townsend and Ince. Silva might get a role in central midfield. Probably won't, to be honest, and I may well be looking to offload in January, almost definitely in the summer. Next up, Aguero played a lot of the games, pretty much has to. 14 games, 1 off the bench, 7.33, 9 goals. He's carrying our forward line a little bit at the moment due to injury and also due to maybe a lack of quality compared to what we used to. Massive, massive surprise package though. Danny Ings, 7.25 rating, 10 games, 3 off the bench, 7 goals. This lad knows where the goal is. I know I talked about this. He's quick. He can create his opportunities. He can get himself into positions, make those runs, and he can slot it into the back of the net when he needs to. And since this guy's on 2 stars at the moment, potential to develop to 3, he is pretty much keeping other options out of the team at the moment. He's pretty much ever present. Alongside Andy Carroll, who's down here. I'll show you him and jump down a bit. 7 games, 1 goal, 7.03 rating, but his assist numbers must be pretty high, and he'll be back very soon. The two of them just work well together. You stick Carroll up there as a target man, and he'll hold the ball off or flick the headers on. Ings is on the end of it, always willing to run into the gaps, and more often than not, he puts it in the back of the net. So, as I was talking about then, I'm not going necessarily for the best players, I'm going for the best combination, and with Carroll and Ings, it's amazing how well it seems to work most of the time. And Ings has laid off a couple of assists himself as well, so great player for us. Starting to push his way into the England main setup as well, the talk is. Alex McCarthy, giving him a couple of games, 7.45, did really well, but not going to get too many chances. With Kasper Schmeichel, I'll probably get him registered in the January window and then get McCarthy out on loan. Chalobah, 6 starts, 4 off the bench, 1 goal, 7.07. As I said, I've been putting him in at centre-back more often than not for the time being, but I will be looking to get him into midfield as much as possible. Luke Shaw restricted mainly to appearances off the bench as he's got Cole and who's the other guy? Can't think of his name. Plays every week. Ryan Bertrand. So he's third in the pecking order. I'm going to try and get him into the advanced sort of attacking midfield role. You can see now that his position says he can play that as his main position. It's currently 2 stars in that role at the moment. I hope to go develop onto something else. So he's going to be 4.5 star left back. Chances are he's going to develop and and take this position in attacking midfield. May well be a lot more effective there, but we shall see. Main reasons for that is high dribbling, high acceleration, so if we can see him cut inside and lash some shots in, then that could be a good one, but we'll see. I might well leave him back in defence. We'll just have to see how he develops as time goes on. Scott Sinclair, brought him in from the reserve team, didn't even know he was there, to be honest. Not going to play many games, only 2 stars, and not much scope for development either. Actually, 2.5. Fair enough, give him some credit, but you notice he's got Silva, Ince, Townsend, Milner ahead of him. Luke Shaw is a player I want to develop, so he's going to get more football than Sinclair most likely. So yeah, he's in a bit of trouble. May well see him as being one of the English players that I offload. Ryan Bertrand, 7 appearances, 2 off the bench, 7.64 rating, has been mental for us. Rotating him in with Ashley Cole, keeping them both fit and fresh. Milner's played 5 games, bit of a utility player. Sado has had 11 appearances off the bench, 5 starts, 6.87 rating, 4 goals. As I've mentioned a couple of times, he knows where the goal is, this lad. He puts himself in the right position, and as time goes on, he could well be leading the line and banging goals in left, right and centre for us over the next couple of years. Michael Richards injured, as always, but 8 appearances, couple of goals, very high rating. Kasper Schmeichel we talked about. Andy Carroll we talked about. Townsend got crocked very early on, only had 2 appearances. He's coming back very soon. He will be straight in the first team, trust me on that one. Probably Silva going to be making way on that front. Martin Kelly, we touched on, a couple of appearances so far. Ross Barkley has been crocked long term, due to come back from a thigh strain. He's out on loan at Norwich for the season. Did play 7 games, to be fair, but some of those will have been in the Cup, I think, and he's had a fairly extended period out. Angus Gunn, might have talked about him, 18-year-old goalkeeper, might develop into a 2-star goalie if we're lucky, out on loan. Ryan Seeger and Ryan Ledson, the 2 Ryans, out on loan at Doncaster, both of them playing well. Ledson's got 10 games, 6.8, and Seeger's got a goal and 5 games so far. He went slightly after Ledson did, and good to see them both getting action. Denzel, injured, going to be back in a couple of weeks. But he's out on loan, was playing some games, getting some goals. Jack Wiltshire, right down here, 6.96, has been fairly quiet. I haven't managed to find the role that he's best in, really. Plays in the central midfield, but in terms of the player role that I use him in, whether he's a playmaker, whether he takes a defensive spot, I haven't really figured that out yet. So, still need to do some tweaking here, but Wiltshire gets involved quite often. Heston Tyler we talked about, 2 games, 6.8. Thierry Ambrose mostly used off the bench at his loan club, and in doing that he has scored 6 goals, 7.18 rating. So I think they need to start using him in the starting lineup a little bit more often, to be honest. Callum Croft, I'll show you this guy. I didn't even know he's there. 16-year-old left midfielder with the potential to develop into 3.5 stars. So he'll be up there challenging for Townsend and for Tom Ince, potentially. He'll be up in their sort of level eventually. Got him in there, going to try and get him a little bit of first team action. Probably not a whole lot, because it just gets ridiculous putting all these young lads in. But he'll see a few. Probably get him in some cup games or something on that line. Ricky McLaren, unfortunately, my other 16-year-old wonder kid who plays down the right-hand side, has been out for fairly long term with treatment for broken ribs, 3 to 4 weeks out. Main reason I hate to say this is because players' development really slows down when they're injured, and there's plenty of time for them to turn it around. It's not going to completely ruin them, but I want them to be spending as much time developing and improving as we can early on, if possible. But he did play 7 games, 2 goals for him, 6.89. He's been decent. And right down at the bottom here, Alistair Underhill was a youth player, youth goalie that we just kept in. Not going anywhere fast, though, to be honest. Went for that. He sort of stepped in when I didn't have a goalkeeper, or I didn't have Alex McCarthy, but he's going to be dropping into the under-21 squad as of right now. That has just happened. So that's pretty much everything. That's how we're doing so far. Early signs are very good. Got a few players coming back from injury, which is going to be helpful for us. And then a good number of players out on loan getting first team experience, who I'll be looking to really capitalise on that and take roles in the first team over the next coming seasons. So keep it locked. If you've enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. There is lots of FM 2014 action going down on the channel, and any feedback you've got, players I should look at, comments positive and negative on what I've done so far, then drop those in the comment section and give the video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Thank you very much.